The Battle of Brandywine River, also known as the Battle of Brandywine Creek, was fought in September 11th of 1777. To summarize the role and location of this place in the Revolutionary era, Eastby says that the British plan in his article was, quote, Howe's plan was simple, elegant, and risky. He would divide his army in half. One wing, under the Hessian Lieutenant General Wilhelm von Knipshausen, would advance directly from Kennett Square to the main crossing of the Brandywine Chadds Ford River. This is from Eastby's 1998 article. During this battle, Washington's forces were successful in slowing down the advance of the British soldiers, but were ultimately unable to defeat their opponents and stop them completely. The British won the battle and as a result had a clear march toward Philadelphia. However, once it became clear what was happening, it was too late to prevent a defeat. But Washington realized that it was just barely in time to stave off disaster, and Washington was able to not only save his army, but to be able to fight again another day. With regards to what has happened to preserve or not preserve this location, the Pennsylvania Historical and Museum Commission has taken steps to ensure that the battlefield is not forgotten. The museum owns land of about 50 acres, which includes some land where the battle itself was fought, primarily including the land for the Continental Encampment. This also includes the museum itself, which resides, owned by the Commission and resides in this area. And on this land, there have been numerous videos and historical documentaries made to preserve the history of the Brandywine battle. As mentioned earlier, Eastby claims that the battlefield serves as an example of a setback for the Continental Army, and it shows Washington both at his worst and at his best. It shows that while Washington was a brilliant commander, he still had his flaws, which cost him a great deal in the end of the battle. On the other hand, scholars such as Kevin Heimel discuss how the Battle of Brandywine affected the people of Chadds Ford and the surrounding area. He says that, quote, the battle's consequences for the war and the Brandywine area, which was affected so severely that it took 5 years for the local economy to again prosper, end quote, from Heimel's 1998 article. This is interesting because it shows that repercussions do not just occur for the soldiers and for the generals, but also for the people and the economy and the ecology of the land. Battles are not just fought with blood. Occasionally, they are fought with land. Finally, I'm going to discuss whether or not a field trip to this location is in the future of teaching opportunities. First of all, I do not anticipate teaching anywhere in the Chadds Ford area of Pennsylvania. That would be the first hindrance. While this battlefield is interesting, it is not necessarily the best place to take students unless they are in the area of Chadds Ford. Very little of the actual battlefield remains intact, and much of the area has been developed by roads, homes, and other businesses. However, I recently attended a wedding and a reception and stayed in Chadds Ford and had the opportunity to stay in the Wild Wisteria Bed and Breakfast, which used to be in and was also part of a plantation that existed back in the 1770s, but was originally created as a building in 1714. The inn itself has changed, particularly in its exterior and coloring, but the interior of the building still holds much of the same foundation and the look and the feel and the structure of the original. Teachers may not be able to travel to Chadds Ford to go to the battlefield, but if they are able, and if it is in their realm of possibility, this cozy and spacious B&B might be worth adding to the stop. As an added bonus, you should enjoy this place because it is currently run by graduates of Liberty University from 1990. Therefore, I would not necessarily take a class to the battlefield of the Brandywine River, but it just might be interesting for you to go yourself to spend a long weekend.